bad drivers everywhere. Are they cheating their way onto the roads?
In order to get a certificate, you need to complete a school course.
We go inside the world of driver training.
But since you're not actually completing a school course, you just need to fill out all the paperwork as if you did.
Where there are no lessons.
I've done it thousands of times.
But cash is king, and documents are forged.
I'll find you.
Come here.
Public safety is on the line.
The risks are that we have drivers out on the road that are not trained and not certified properly.
This is your marketplace.
What is your government doing to take action?
We're in a parking lot with a big flock of pigeons and a handful of hidden cameras, waiting for an instructor from a driving school.
Are you in that white car? Hey, I see you. Yeah.
He's paid to teach the rules of the road.
Hey man, how's it going? Yeah, it's me. You? Oh, he's my friend, Jeff.
But this guy is ready to break some rules to help us cheat our way through driver training.
I have the cash and the license, but Jeff has some questions.
He's here to sell us a certificate that says we've completed a driver's education course, even though we haven't taken a single lesson.
Yeah, I just want to make sure he's not going to get burned or anything down the road.
No,
or something like that.
He wants us to go with him to a nearby driving school to sign some forged documents.
Well, I'm gonna have to go there, and you have to fill out the paper with you and sign the form.
The forms, he says, will be registered with the Ministry of Transportation, and then we'll get our certificate.
The only thing that you're going to sign is that you've attended the driving school. That's it. So it's just a paper that says I've done the driving. That's it.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's how we do it. I've done it thousands of times.
It's against the law, but it sure will save us a bunch of time and money. The certificate he's selling is called a BDE, which stands for Beginner Driver Education. A BDE helps new drivers get discounts on car insurance and allows them to take their driving test sooner. The provincial government has known for years that people buy and sell fraudulent BDEs. In 2007, the Auditor General calls for action, so the province switches proof of certification from paper to online. But has it helped? We're on our way to London, Ontario, to learn more about how beginner driver training is supposed to go.
Hey, Ashley.
Hi.
Ready for your lesson?
Yeah.
We'll be taking a ride with Ashley Griffith and her instructor, Puneet Chadha.
Are you excited?
Yes, I am.
Yeah?
Really excited. It's my first lesson.
Wow.
The provincial government sets the rules for driver education, and that means at least 10 hours of in-car lessons like this.
So whenever you're ready, let's put it into drive for me and go towards that stop sign.
Ashley is also taking 20 hours of theory, learning the rules of the road.
How are the nerves, Ashley?
I've only ever driven with my parents.
Okay.
There's another 10 hours of homework, either in class or in car, depending on what might help most.
So remember, always keep your hands on the wheel, right, at all times, right? So in case we were ever to get hit, you want to be able to control that car.
The total cost for Ashley's BDE certification, about $750. And yet, here we are, with no driver training, able to buy a certificate for half that. As the instructor tells us how they use fake documents to cheat the online system set up by the MTO. That's the Ministry of Transportation.
We forward that to the MTO database.
Yeah.
What we do is that we just forward that this person, Mr. X, attended the driving school with us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Send that to the MTO database. Then guess what? After 2 business days,
Yeah.
the MTO database issue you a certificate. So
Okay.
say that beginner's course completed on your record.
But he's not the only one doing this kind of thing. Websites like Kijiji and Facebook are filled with ads. Instructors promising low prices, nearly perfect passing rates, early road test bookings, and those coveted insurance discount certificates that they're not even supposed to advertise. we call them up. 20 instructors to see what they can do for us.
Yeah, we will provide it. It's $200 for BDE certificate.
Okay.
14 offer to sell us BDE certification. No questions asked.
And is there any test I have to take for BDE or
No,
class?
no, don't worry. I can manage it in the system.
Another call, another BDE. This one even cheaper and faster.
Okay, so if I e-transfer you, how much? $150?
$155.
And
Yeah.
I can get it by today?
Yes, you're gonna get it today in the evening, maybe tonight.
Tens of thousands of new drivers are looking for actual lessons every year, right across Canada. But training is only mandatory in 4 provinces: Saskatchewan, Quebec, Nova Scotia, and Prince Edward Island. In Ontario, lessons are entirely up to you. Unless you want your test sooner and insurance cheaper, then you need a BDE. And that's what brings us here.
All right. So once we add the BDA course on your behalf, it will be on your record. Like I said.
Yeah.
When you get a call, when you're talking to the insurance companies over the phone, you just tell them from what period to what period that you've attended.
Okay.
Most of the time, they'll ask you just to confirm and to make sure that you actually went to the school and stuff.
He makes it clear we've got nothing to worry about.
People get unsure.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to explain myself. But the thing is that I've done it thousands of times, tens of thousands of times.
Yeah.
Sometimes you might feel like, oh, it's a time and like that, but it's not, actually. And I can also show you my driving instructor like at the same time.
Yeah, that'd be...
To give you like a like that. I'm not just joking.
He tells us, like most instructors, he works for many schools, but is going to take us to one nearby to complete the deal and the paperwork.
Yeah.
So the guy, the school administrator, he's waiting for us. So if you want to go, let's just go and let's just get it over with.
Truth is, we have no intention of going through with a transaction that sure seems illegal. So we tell him we need to think about it.
I would say maybe just take another beat to think about it, man. I don't understand, guys. What are you guys scared of? I don't understand.
Okay, so I'm new to this country. I'm not familiar with laws and rules.
I think you should just take some time to think about it.
That's not how it works.
Yeah.
Because this guy's just waiting for me.
As we back away from the deal, the instructor becomes threatening.
All right, let's go. Come on, let's go.
Sorry.
Thank you. Thanks for your time.
He jumps in his car and chases us down in the parking lot.
Come here. This way.
We take refuge in a supermarket while he pulls up out front. He sits in his car for a good hour. Sends a threatening text. You won't like how this is going to end, it says. But eventually, he leaves, leaving us with a lesson in the dangers of trying to cheat the system. Later, we ask that instructor to come on camera to get your perspective on why you tried to sell a BDE certificate to our colleagues.
Excuse me, with all due respect, ma'am, I haven't tried to sell a certificate and I have no idea about what you're talking about.
We jog his memory with details from that day, and he says he was just trying to be helpful.
I knew something was wrong from the beginning, but those guys, they trying to corner me. Can you give me certificate? Can you give me certificate and all that? I told them, I can't give you certificate, but I can help you by taking you to the school, and you can negotiate with the school owner in a way that you can get a driving certificate, of course, legally.
What does negotiate mean then? What does negotiate mean?
Listen to me, which means you can reduce the amount of lessons you can do, which means that will reduce the amount of money that you can pay.
From what I understand, that is absolutely against the rules.
But you can reduce the in-car lessons if you would like to, because if you're practicing at home with your family members, with your...
No, you can't. Not if you take this... Not if you
reduce the amount.
Not if you take this program. You can't. You're not supposed to. That's the problem here.
So maybe that's the problem. But what I'm saying is that if people don't want to practice the in-car, you're not going to force them. Are you going to force them?
I mean, that's a job as the instructor or the driving school, yes. That's what they're paying for. The instructor refuses to do a formal interview and later sends another threatening text that's too graphic to share. We catch up again with Puneet Chadha as he teaches driving theory to high schoolers in Clinton, Ontario.
All right, let's do a quick review. First thing first, what is the difference between a collision and an accident? Does anyone know?
It's part of their proper BDE training.
Crash stats are showing in 2014, there was a collision every 3 minutes.
He lets us step in to share our findings.
All yours.
I can take over. We just want to show you a little bit of an instructor who was trying to sell us a BDE certificate.
Once we enter the BDE course on your behalf, it goes like that.
And yeah, I think it's crazy. That's not fair at all that they can do that.
Like, if they don't know what they're doing, then they're not going to be safe drivers.
It's bringing everybody else's insurance up, and it's just sucks for everybody.
Afterwards, we head out on a little drive test of our own to hear how all this might be hurting Puneet's livelihood.
Students have come to me and basically have admitted that I just paid the guy and I got a certificate.
Really?
Yeah.
So you've had students come to you saying that?
They have. And I said, well, why'd you do that? Well, I needed to get this quicker and faster because I needed to get that job or I needed to save money on that insurance. And I was like, well, what did that get you? They got nothing because I failed my first test because they didn't train me properly. It doesn't shock me. Nothing is shocking me right now, what you guys have discovered.
Must be frustrating, though.
It is frustrating because it's affecting all of our business, right? And now those kids are on the road, and they're on the road with us, my kids, and your kid, and it hurts. It hurts because an accident and a collision can happen at any time.
What happens when we go inside a driving school for a lesson in how to trick the government?
The short version is that you sign as if you've already completed everything and get certificates right now.
Coming up. We're inside the world of beginner driver education. And the biggest lesson we're learning, it's easy to cheat the system.
I've done it thousands of times.
Certificates that say you've taken hours of instruction can be bought for not much money and no actual training. It begins with phone calls like this to a freelance driving instructor who's looking to make extra cash by selling driver education certificates without the education.
So I don't really think I need lessons that much. I'm actually more interested in the certificate you can get for insurance discount.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, so
we know that people don't have time to attend to these 20 hours of classroom and stuff. So we have what we call option B, and so we allow you to come to our school to fill out the document. We're sort of breaking the rules a little bit, that my boss needs to know that it's someone she can trust. And so she trusts people that come through us instructors.
He sends us here to a driving school in North Toronto. We have an appointment to buy a BDE certificate for $220 with no lessons whatsoever.
Hi. Have an appointment here?
Seems like a bargain, but we say we're concerned about forms they want us to sign.
This is like school paperwork.
Okay.
Because in order to get a certificate, you need to complete a school course.
Okay.
But since you're not actually completing a school course, you just need to fill out all the paperwork as if you did.
She then lays out exactly how this scheme works.
Okay. And how the ministry and the insurance will...
We submit it to the ministry directly.
And I will collect that from...
Service Ontario.
And that I will use for the insurance, right?
Yeah.
You said there's school paperwork. What will that include?
Maybe a file like this. So there is like in-car form where you sign for your in-car lessons. Registration you need to sign that you registered at school. Then in-class lessons registration. And this is the workbook that students work at. You just have to sign that you completed the workbook.
Okay.
And That's the in-car test that they do, and that's in-class test that they do.
Okay.
That's it.
She makes no bones about the fact this is cheating.
To get the certificate, you need to complete it's a 40-hour course.
Okay.
In which you do all those tests in real life. And after that, you get a certificate. The short version is that you sign as if you've already completed everything and get certificate right now.
Okay.
Without actually completing it, and the price is obviously very different.
It's 700 something. I think John was saying on the phone.
It's $699 plus tax, so it comes out more to $800.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, and this is 2 trainings.
And you have done this before, right?
For about 15 years now.
Okay.
Wow. For quite some time.
15 years of fooling the government. She tells us we can think it over if we want. She's got others waiting and offers one more detail about the deception.
Well, this is how your file is gonna look. That's the information we have. We keep it for 3 years as per ministry requirements.
Yeah.
Because they might want to come in and check and make sure that you actually completed all the course.
If the ministry does check, it will all look legit, just like it must have when government inspectors found 0 infractions at this school 4 years ago. That's one of the criticisms that's repeated in the latest report by the Auditor General of Ontario. The government is still not doing enough to catch this kind of behavior. We meet up with Auditor General Shelley Spence to compare notes. What are the risks of people cheating their way through the BDE process?
The risks are that we have drivers out on the road that are not trained and not certified properly.
We show her our footage from that North Toronto driving school.
And you have done this before, right?
For about 15 years now.
Okay.
Really? Wow.
Your first reaction to it?
That is a lack of compliance, of course. You can see the motivations as to why the people would want to get a certificate cheaper, faster, but that's not why we're doing these certificates. We're doing these certificates to help people learn how to drive and drive safely on the roads.
Isn't that concerning?
It is concerning, and that's why one of our recommendations was for the ministry to actually bring back the mystery shopping component of their compliance work, and it would catch this kind of activity.
The Auditor General's office does its own mystery shops, like us. It hires a firm to go to 14 high-risk driving schools across Ontario. It finds 11 of them were offering BDE certificates with less than the required 10 hours of in-car training. The auditor says the government hasn't done any mystery shopping of its own since the start of the pandemic because the government says they're too expensive. Why do you think the mystery shopping program is so important?
As you could see, the paperwork's easy to forge. And we use that technique actually a lot in different audits because it is the citizen-facing experience or the customer-facing experience. You guys use it a lot on your show as well to really get to what is happening. The government can't tell from that paperwork that this has occurred.
So when will the province actually fix things? Public safety is at risk here. Is that concerning?
Well, we're going to make sure we come down on bad actors.
Coming up after the break. Bad drivers are everywhere these days. And we're discovering some of it may have to do with people cheating their way through driver ed.
But since you're not actually completing the school course, you just need to fill out all the paperwork as if you did.
We call up that school for an explanation. My name is Asha Tomlinson from CBC Marketplace. She tells us what we documented must be a misunderstanding.
The only way to get certificate is if you have completed the entire course.
Well, that's not what you told our colleagues. You actually showed them how they could sign forms saying that they attended lessons and took the training, even though they didn't. And you were quite cavalier about it. You joked about the fact that they wouldn't have to do any work and they would get the BDE certificate.
No, everybody has to complete the whole course. It's in-car and online.
Okay, we have this recorded on video.
There must have been some misunderstanding.
We thought for sure the insurance industry would want to talk about all this since they're handing out discounts to some drivers who haven't earned them. But the Insurance Bureau of Canada will only say they've been in touch with the Ontario government. We've also been in touch for weeks now.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Look, this isn't about truckers.
But Transport Minister Prabmeet Sarkaria is refusing to meet. So we look for him on his way into caucus. Hi, Minister. How are you? Ashley from CBC Marketplace. People have been buying and selling beginner driver education certificates with no actual training happening. Public safety is at risk here. What is your government doing to take action?
We have zero tolerance policy for that, and we will make sure that that is absolutely addressed.
CBC Marketplace called 20 driving instructors. 14 of them were willing to break the rules and cheat the system.
That it is unacceptable. We're looking at increasing sanctions on anyone with respect to contravening road safety rules or taking a form in these type of practices.
Thanks, guys. We have to get into
just one more question. When you say sanctions, what do you mean by that?
Well, we're always looking at penalties. We want to make sure that bad actors are punished for any type of behavior that is not in line with the rules and regulations. And so we will have zero tolerance for any of that.
Until government does keep a closer eye on things, the hope is that people learning the rules of the road.
You had already passed the point of no return, which is that line.
People like Ashley Griffith.
So you got to look at what's the best thing for you to do at that point, right?
Okay. Will take a drive down the straight and narrow.